thought they were just trying to really get the ball up. Thought they did a good job. Thought the inning could have started a little bit differently to Randy there, and then just kind of a hang and split to Julio. I thought his stuff was pretty similar. Velo went down a little bit as he went. I think that was the biggest thing. Had the 3 strikeouts, but wasn't getting as much swing and miss. That was the only thing.
And then 2-0 going into Seattle. Like, where do you get the optimism right now, and what do you think needs to improve these next few days?
Always going to have optimism about this team. I think just looking at it as a whole, we got to figure out ways to generate some more offense, and give the guys a ton of credit for coming back, down 3, you tie it. They just made more swings than us the last 2 games, kind of what it comes down to. So we got to figure out a way to limit damage, 1, and 2, generate more offense.
Directly across the aisle to Ben.
Hey, John, you mentioned the offense. What does this team need to do to get to a point that they're scoring more runs for you?
Do what we've done all year. I think just looking at the difference in these first 2, slug hasn't been there for us, has been there for them. And you never know when it's going to turn. They got a good pitching staff. They're featuring some good stuff. But I thought today was way better than yesterday, obviously. And we hit some balls hard. I want these guys to continue to feel like they're on the attack. You know what I mean? It's what we've done this entire season. So hopefully the luck turns, and hopefully the slug shows up when we get there.
On your far left standing, Ken.
John, you mentioned you Savage's velo dropping. How much consideration did you give to not having him start the 5th?
A little bit, something we talked about before the game. You kind of look at what he did the first couple times through there with those hitters. You consider it, but at the same time, it's tough to really just continue to churn through bullpen arms, So you're taking into account kind of the uniqueness of his arsenal, and you're kind of taking it a little bit batter to batter there. So didn't start out great, with error and all that kind of stuff. So it was a tough decision for sure.
All right, follow up to that. How difficult is it right now with your bullpen performing the way it is?
Yeah. I mean, you want them. I mean, I think you look at, Louis punches out 3, gives up a homer. Fish punches out 3, gives up a homer. The weird play with the foul ball off Kirky, probably could have caught it. You know what I mean? With JP at the plate, dink hit off Flew. I think that I'm going to continue to trust him for one, and I'm going to continue to trust everyone that either starts the game or comes in. And sometimes bullpens can be volatile. There's certain situations where you're chasing matchups, you're chasing velo, you're chasing stuff for certain guys. And the first 2 games it hasn't worked out. I think that Polanco's had a really good, I told you in the dugout, month. Didn't execute up where we wanted to and paid the price. So again, you still trust him, and you still trust Shane Bieber, you still trust Max Scherzer, Chris Bassett, Kevin Gausman. You still trust all those guys. I think you just got to come in and execute.
5th row on your right, John. Mike.
John, given the way the game started with that Arozarena at bat, what, if anything, are you looking for on a 22-year-old's face when something like that happens? You have a guy struck out, and you wind up having that at bat continue.
He didn't really budge. I feel like him, Kirky, Randy, Barger, Vlad, they were all waiting to throw the ball around. He didn't budge, and that's kind of been consistent with what he has been since he's been up here. So I thought he handled it all right and got through that inning pretty well, and then went out and threw up a 0. So again, man, that's not why we lost the game, I don't think, but it could maybe change some momentum a little bit. But I thought he handled it well.
And just with Varsho, we saw a couple of really uncharacteristic plays from him out there in center field. What did you see there?
Kind of a weird read. Maybe it was the wind, a little chilly, and that's a ball Varsh usually catches with his eyes closed, Garver hit it pretty well, you know what I mean? But I think whenever a ball goes up to center field that it doesn't leave the park, you think Varsh is going to catch it. So just kind of a little bit of a weird route, which is the last thing you think of when it goes up to him.
I'll finish up with Gregor.
John, when Varland first came in, you got the strikeout you guys are looking for. What do you think happened in the next at bat with Polanco?
Fastball wasn't where he wanted to put it, that's it, and momentum can swing quickly. Louis got great stuff. He's got electric stuff, and you still have to execute no matter how hard you're throwing. You know what I mean? So I think it's tough, man, when you get no outs and you're trying to just stop the bleeding, and punches out Julio. It just comes down to making pitches, really. That's all it is. So confident they will. Confident everyone will continue to do that. So it's one of those things where it gets magnified in the postseason for sure. But you gotta just go out, trust the guys, and execute the stuff.